long session this morning, but it's important on what's going to be said and what the scripture that we're going to visit. But before we get started, I want to just share with y'all some things that I wrote, because I often, this is how I do my study and get into it. I like to think about the word and what it means or what's popping at that time. But I'm going to start by reading that faith is a form of believing. Just follow with me and be mindful of what's being said, because all these things come back around. To say faith is a form of believing and trusting. I feel as if faith is that superpower that we need to get to the next level. Why? Because at some point in our lives, regardless of the circumstances and the situations, we are going to have to put our faith in someone or something. Faith is a force that allows us to do the impossible. Faith gives us the strength to charter new places. Faith is a reassuring factor in situations that appear to be too much to handle. In other words, faith gives us and provides hope in all situations. But what I've learned over the years is that everyone doesn't have faith, or is afraid to believe or trust the process. For whatever reason, whether you've been hurt or just because it seems like nothing ever seems to work out for you. With that being said, I'd like to look at a couple verses on this morning and a couple of points that may help us along the way. And if you don't mind, I like to think back and I want to refer to these points as faith boosters. It's not often that we're just able to tap into an unseen force. So I want to add these few points on this morning to try to help us to understand how to activate our faith a little bit better. Like I said, I want to refer to these 3 points as faith boosters. And the first one, you feel free to stop me or chime in at any time. But one of the first point that I have is when you ask God for something, after you do, you have to start moving as such. Let's go to James chapter 2, verse 26. Now keep this point in mind. When you ask God for something, after you do, you have to start moving as such.
Say James what?
Chapter 2,
Verse what?
26.
976.
What verse? 26.
976.
Verse 26.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. It's at the end of the chapter. Man, these faith boosters that I want to lift up on this morning, and this first point is when you ask God for something, after you do, you have to start moving as such. Somebody read James 2:26 for me real quick.
Just as the body is dead without breath, so
Speak
also.
up.
Just as the body is dead without breath, so also faith is dead without good works.
Give me another version. You got
A person's body without their spirit is dead. In the same way, faith without good deeds is dead.
Amen. Got King James. I'm going to read the NIV I got that says, as the body without the spirit is dead, so is faith without works. And I lift this point up as a faith booster due to the fact You know, we can oftentimes put our faith in something, or ask God for something, but we have to realize and understand that it's something that we have to do as well. The point I want to reach out, that I want to lift up in here is like the faith without works is dead. Just take this for an example, and I always refer back to it. You trusting God to help you get a job, or you praying to God to move on your behalf or finding you employment. Okay, that's fine, good, and then you feel real good about him helping you with the job or helping you locate the job, whatever the case may be. Feel good about it, spirits high about it, but you haven't filled out an application, you haven't prepared to go on an interview, you haven't made no steps towards obtaining the job that you just prayed for, but you expect God to give you that job. How can you get the job without ever giving these people your social security card and your ID, or your bank statement, your bank information? What I'm trying to point out is, it's good to have faith, but at the same time, we have to move as such. We have to move in the direction that we believe in, or that we're asking God for. We just can't ask God to, I ain't gonna say we can't, but we shouldn't just throw it out there and just leave it there for God to handle it all the time. In most situations and most times, then yeah. But when we're talking about faith, we're talking about moving, it's an action. So you have to do your part. How you expect to get a job if you never gave them your cell phone number? How they gonna contact you to tell you to come in for an interview if you've never done none of these things? So what I'm trying to point out and lift up is that we have to do something as well. We just can't come and just think everything's supposed to fall in our laps. We have to do our part as well. I had went through a program a few years ago, and they had a term called skate. I mean, you just skate. Whatever you go with, that's what it is. Compared to you getting out, you getting back what you're putting out. You only get, I just asked about you, answer what's happening. You only get what you're putting out. If you just doing the bare minimum, of course that's all you're gonna get is the bare minimum. But if you actually applying yourself and actually putting putting your best foot forth, then you're gonna get back more. I mean, that comes from anything, whether it's working out, reading the Bible, doing educational work, whatever the case may be, bro. The more that you do, the more that you put out, the more you're gonna get back in. You will never understand something that you don't know if you don't ask about it. Even with, I'm just using the school right now for an example. If it's something that you don't know when you have these educational courses, you need to ask. If you don't ask, how would you ever know? Or how would you ever gain the understanding that you need to move forward or to feel comfortable in the situation that you got going on? You have to do your part as well. But we just can't expect everything to fall in our lap or constantly get handout after handout after handout when you could be actually doing something for yourself to provide for yourself and your family as well. We have to move. We just can't sit idle and allow things to just happen. There's some things that we have to do. Some things we have to actually grab by the reins and take a hold of. And I think that's what, when we take those steps, is when God empowers us to do the things that we thought we couldn't do, like I said earlier. But we have to move, we have to try, we have to put forth an effort. We just can't be idle and allow whatever happens to us happen. No, man, we have to move forward and move strongly. And I think this verse really helps us to understand that. So that's one of the points that I want to lift up as being a faith booster. The second one is sometimes it takes for something drastic to happen in order for our faith to be activated. And like I said, everyone doesn't have faith, but sometimes it takes something drastic, unfortunately. Let's go to John. Book of John, chapter 2, verse 22. Yeah, in order for our faith to be activated.
Chapter 2?
Yeah, chapter 2. I'm gonna read the scripture and we're gonna go off into a little bit of what I mean.
You say what verse?
22.
853.
Everybody got it? John 2, 22.
John 2 what? You said John 2?
2, 22. 853, page 853.
reminds me what I just said. Sometimes it takes for something drastic to happen in order for our faith to be activated. John 2:22 reads, after he was raised from the dead, his disciples recalled what he had said. Then they believed the scripture and the words that Jesus had spoken. I mean, how drastic could it be, come from the scripture for something to happen? But I want to talk about something drastic, the things that happen in our life drastically to activate our faith. Sometimes it takes for us to be in the court system, for our faith to be activated, like Malcolm alluded to yesterday. But sometimes it takes for someone close to us to lose their lives, or we end up taking a life, or our family, our mothers, loved ones, those who are close to us, grandmothers in some of our instances, for them to lose their life, or for them to go on and be with the Lord, or something get taken away from you, your children, or you misplaced in some type of manner, or your family just all in an uproar. I mean, just like nothing seems to be happening, bro. These things oftentimes put us in dark places if we're not lucky. But a lot of times I've learned that these situations brings out the best in us. For most of us, it causes us to do things that we thought we couldn't do and handle situations that we thought we couldn't handle. And unfortunately, when I call my case, that's like when my faith was activated. I didn't necessarily ask God for specific things. I just asked, like, man, allow me to just be home and see my family one day. You know what I'm saying? I ain't asked to beat my case or none of that like that. I just was concerned with being at home one day again and seeing my children. So it was like I had to put my faith, or I had to put my trust and my belief in something greater, something higher than myself, and something way more than my attorney and the judge, because that wasn't sitting well at all in any capacity. So when these drastic things happen, a lot of times our faith is activated. But on the flip side of that, Maafa, what we got going on, is that I don't want you guys to ever have to deal with that drastic part, if we can help it. Whatever happened already. I feel like all of our staff objective is to to help you not to go down that route where you have to experience something drastic. Sometimes I get it, is a lot of things are out of our hands and out of our control. I'm talking about the things that are within our grasp, the things that we can control, which is ourselves and our actions. If I could say something to somebody or share something about myself that'll stop one of y'all from going to do something drastic, then that's what I'm gonna do. That's what my objective is. So it's like I don't ever wanna use or have to go through it because it's not an easy thing to do. We've had some drastic things transpire with the fellows in the past, but it's like that's not something that I want to get used to. I don't want to get used to, man, such and such called and they need this for a bond, or they need this, or such and such got caught with a pipe, or they hit this block over here, or they shot them. Them drastic things that we trying to avoid that we don't need, bro. That's what we build in here every day. We just not in here to just, goddamn it, just to be talking or taking up time. We trying to change the inside of what's going on, because that's where it's coming from. That's where it's gonna come from. And these drastic situations sometimes could be for the good, but like that, not all the time. Sometimes they put you in a deeper rut when you experience something drastic like this. But sometimes, and hopefully and prayerfully, when we experience these drastic things, it'll cause us to change, it'll cause our faith to be activated in different things besides ourselves. And it's not an easy thing dealing with drastic situations, bro. Think about a drastic situation for a minute, or what you deem to be drastic. just think about it for a second. Loss of a loved one, loss of a friend, loss of whatever. It's a drastic situation. Or you catching cases. Or you in a situation where you can't get out. I mean, these things that's gonna make you look to God for whatever the case may be. For whatever strength you need, whatever provision you need, whatever comfort, whatever joy, whatever you need is where it's gonna come from. So these drastic situations, man, I'm trying to avoid at all costs. Because there's not always that something good come out of these drastic situations. My situation was drastic, but God worked it for my better, for His good. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't come out better. I didn't lose all of my years, only lost a few of them. But what God did within that time, it set up for what's going on right now. So those drastic situations don't always turn out for the good. That's what I'm saying. Plus, they got a lot of homes in from drastic situations they still locked up and ain't coming home. So they don't always turn out right. So don't take it lightly, just thinking, okay, I can get away with it, or I can do it, or I should do it. No, it's something coming with that. It's consequences coming with that, and all y'all know that. And that's what I want y'all to think about when those situations and instances come up. Like, no, hell no, so I ain't doing that. Who gonna take care of my baby? Who gonna take care of what I'm taking care of right now? A lot of guys in here don't want another man calling don't want your children to call another man daddy. Or who you think what they gonna do if you ain't there? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, bro, these drastic situations don't always turn out right, but sometimes they do. But I just want us to avoid them at all costs if we possibly can. I just want to put that on y'all bird as being a faith booster on this morning. And also the third one that I got, man, is seeing what God has done for others. I want to go to Acts real fast. Acts 10. 10:34. Man, so a faith booster is seeing what God has done for others. Acts 10:34, just let us say the verse to go with what I'm saying.
884.
Yeah.
884.
Acts 10:34.
Yeah. Chapter 34. Yeah, verse 34.
Yeah, verse 34. Y'all got it?
Amen.
You got it? Yeah, Acts 10:34.
It's on page 884.
I got it. It says, then Peter began to speak. I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism. Some verses says God is not a respecter of men. But my point was that I had made, that I written down, was seeing what God has done for others. And I shared this verse in Acts simply because if God did it for somebody else, bro, He'll do it for you. He's not a respecter of men. He doesn't show favoritism. Yeah, I get it. Like, you know, my grandmother growing up, I'm seeing how God was moving in her life, doing the things that she was doing, and I truly believe that because of her prayers, I'm here today. But like Rob was sharing with you guys the other day about his drug habit, I actually was right there and seen him at the bottom of it. I'm like so much to the point where we would be under the building, and I come and get some change, like man, the change for 100. He pull his money out, he count the money, by the time he count 2 bills, he sleep. Now I could take all this money if I want to, just treat him however I want to if that was the case. But I'll give him a pass, hit him still on the man, go upstairs or something like that.
We are the man of the Maafa Redemption Project. We cannot redeem our families and our community. We first redeem ourselves. Therefore, our mission to invest in the mind, body, and spirit, so we may repair and build our city one life at a time.